Segment 3, Gold and Black Live. Yes, this meeting is being recorded. And of course, I've got three friends of the show, three friends, actually. That's even better in life, I suppose. Tom Schott, strategic communications at Purdue, long time with the Purdue athletic department as well, and really the historian on Purdue sports, certainly associated with the university. And we're pleased to have him on. Orlando Itin, he needs no introduction. If you've been to Bruno's and his Big O sports room, it is a shrine, and you can enjoy some good pizza. Now, it's mostly carry out these days, but O will let you walk in and look at some of that stuff from time to time.
When some family parties too, some banquets.
Yeah, yeah, you're doing a lot of that from that standpoint, and Bruno's is still the place to go for food and great pizza and food in West Lafayette. Of course, Chris Pate also needs no introduction, because he has really got a great memorabilia collection, I should say, kind of in the heart of IU country, a little bit south of Bloomington in Bedford, Indiana. I have had the privilege of visiting his shrine, so to speak, 3 or 4 years ago. And Chris, all three of these guys know it when they see it in terms of not only sports memorabilia, but Purdue memorabilia. And I think one of the things that we want to hit on today, and I'll start with you, Tom, in terms of the importance of this and the fact that Purdue has a rich tradition. It has a history, and as a university, obviously, but in athletics, but sometimes not always attended to in today's 21st century world. But the importance of the fact, the job that you guys do it, you do it for love first, but you do it because you're interested. Tell me about just in your experience and why this continues to be important in your view.
Well, you hit the nail on the head, Alan. It's really a challenge now, because old stuff, for lack of a better term, isn't always that exciting in the 21st century. But for those people that truly love history, whether it be Purdue athletics, Major League Baseball, whatever, Purdue in general, it's important to save pieces of history and three-dimensional pieces of history. And whether that's a jersey or a cap or a baseball bat, someone really should be collecting these things. And as you've kind of hinted at, Purdue athletics has not had a strong appetite for that over the years. That's not a new phenomenon. That kind of goes back several decades, if not further. So it's guys like Orlando and Chris and others who have collected these items, I think in hopes of someday that they end up at Purdue on display for thousands of fans to see. But if not, at least they're saved somewhere and they're not just discarded and forgotten about. So, I love history. I love collecting history and what makes it a special memory. And I think and Chris would echo those sentiments.
Yeah, Chris, you look at your situation and maybe you can certainly comment on what Tom said, but also on how you got involved with this. And your story is very interesting in terms of what got you collecting and being a part of this as a Purdue graduate and Purdue near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, Tom, as came to Purdue from Tennessee, so I got to throw in there that bowl game was pretty special for that very reason there. But I came to Purdue and always loved, did lots of high school athletics, but a little too small, a little too slow to play at the Division I level, but I wanted to kind of keep involved. And so I did some work in the equipment room, was a manager, asked me to be the soccer manager for a couple of years. And that kind of got my foot in the door. And from there, it just kind of took off. I saw, was able to meet the right people, be at the right place in the right time to acquire some things. And, it was just like, when the bug bites you, if you're a golfer like I am, you get that little taste of it, and you're like, oh man, this is great. And from there, I just kind of ran with it, and it's been a passion and a hobby. And I say I'm like a little kid. I come home every day and play with my toys.
Yeah. Oh, you had it in your situation, and I think you and I was probably one of your first times. I always tell the story, and I went my first Major League Baseball game was with you, I think in 1969, Cubs Braves, and I went down to try to get Ernie Banks's autograph. Hank Aaron's ball hits your seat, you grab it and get Ernie Banks to sign it. I can't remember if it was one way or the other. I know that probably wasn't the start of your interest, but you go way back in terms of not only Cincinnati Reds stuff, but also obviously Purdue and all kinds of memorabilia.
And I still remember going to games at Lambert because we had we opened up the Brunos in '55, but Dad opened up a place where Follets is right now. We had it called Orlando's in the late '50s. So I'd go right across the street to Lambert, and then I'd park cars in the parking lot there as like a 6th, 7th grade. And then we'd go, then after Mackey got built, started to see a lot of the players coming out to Orlando's and also Bruno's. But the older I got, I went to all the games and enjoyed that. Started chasing, like you said, we chased autographs as baseball guys. I've got stuck on team buses. I've got stuck in hotels. But you get older now. You're still a kid. I just turned 66, and I'm still chasing autographs. So sometimes I feel like I'm the old guy in the room trying to get an autograph sometimes.
Yeah, Drew Brees was in town a couple of weeks ago, and the respect you get from these guys, and Drew's obviously a longtime friend, comes in, signs some things, but it's bigger than that. It isn't a money thing. I mean, it's a thing of really the importance of those guys and their history. I mean, the Kyle Ortons, who's been there of late as well. That's been part of it for you, certainly.
Yeah, it's because it's the same thing like the Purdue family. When the guys play the athletes are still considered part of the family of Purdue, and it kind of goes into some of the fans, and you're kind of close to a lot of the coaches, and been around a long time and got to meet everybody, and just like with yourself with the paper, keep everybody in touch, and everybody stays together, and we try to come back. Like this weekend, Pete Quinn's bringing about 60 guys back from his era, and Jim Bonk's bringing a bunch of gentlemen back from the Rose Bowl '70s era, and so the little reunion they put together themselves, and we're going to do a little hospitality room for them tomorrow night, and I think a lot of guys coming back on Saturday for that group. I don't know if Purdue's involved much with interviewing them at all, or I know they got a golf outing and tailgating. So Pete's pretty good at getting that group together.
Yeah, it's really important that those guys keep that going. Chris, when I visited your spot, just an unbelievable collection, and how neat you guys are all good at that, at keeping stuff in a situation where it's great for people to come and watch. I know you've got a family and so maybe you can't come in unannounced, but you really encourage people to come and see what you have down in the Bedford area as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Alan. As much as I love having all this stuff here in my my basement, I love to show it off. It doesn't get any better than to show off a memorabilia collection that's Purdue sports to a Purdue fan.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm kind of down here in IU country, so I get a lot of the enemy, but they're still kind of blown away, which is a good thing. But I'd love to have more Purdue guys come visit me. So yeah, reach out, contact me by all means. I'd love to have you.
Yeah, and I'll get the contact information at the end of this so you guys so people can reach out to you as well. Tom, you've been involved in a number of things, but these memorabilia shows, I guess, for lack of a better term, you've had them and they've been quite successful, helping also a big part of helping with the National Football Foundation Joe Tiller chapter. But I know you don't have one exactly on the docket yet, but tell us about how those have evolved and why, you've had the Rick Mounts of the world, which kudos to you for getting Rick up here. And again, another important connection point. Other guys, Rob Hummel did it, but tell us about how those have evolved and continue to evolve and what you might see for those down the road.
Sure. Orlando has been a big part of those. And our third wheel, Eddie Keister, just brainstorming well over a year ago, probably a year and a half ago, we thought, we've all been to these memorabilia shows. Why don't we try doing one for Purdue collectors? We know there are collectors like Chris and many others, not only locally but throughout the state. So our first one would have been in August of 2021, so a little over a year ago. And we had one in December and then one in the spring. And again, we're working on another one coming up right after the first of the year, but they have been successful. We didn't really know what to expect. We started off pretty small, but we've been able to get some current and former Boilermakers to come sign autographs for a nominal fee. You mentioned Rick and Hummel, Robbie Hummel, and Rick Mound, and Curtis Painter's been up, and Stu Schweigert, and it's just been a lot of fun. And I think what we've always told people, even if you're not really a collector per se, but just a Purdue fan, come look at what all this stuff is. I mean, it's almost like a one-day museum set up with all the different collectors. I won't use the term dealers because we're more collectors than we are dealers. We set up our stuff, and it's just fun to go through and see what other people have. But we've enjoyed that. And obviously with the NIL, we can bring in current players now and fairly and rightfully compensate them. I'm a firm believer, and that's the right way to do it. I think we've done it the right way, and it's just been it's been a great way to stay involved, both with Purdue athletics and also with my passion for collecting.
Yeah, Charlie Jones is on the docket. What Monday? Tell us a little bit about that, because again, an NIL opportunity for Charlie. Of course, you don't get any hotter than Charlie Jones right now and what he's been doing for Purdue as a receiver, but you've got an opportunity upcoming with that as well.
Yeah, we've just again we've reached out to NO is a big conduit because they all go to Bruno's for pizza, so it's an easy
there you go.
to make. But no, they're called private signings. We're just we'll bring in a student athlete and have him sign an X number of items, for a fee, and then we'll make those items available for sale to collectors. And we're fairly compensating the student athlete. We had Mason Gillison a couple of weeks ago. We did one with Kyle Orton, the former Boilermaker, obviously, a couple of weeks ago, and Charlie will come in on Monday. And again, it's the right thing to do. He should be compensated for what he's done and for signing his name, and then we're going to go make those available to other collectors. And again, just trying to have some fun. And again, Orlando and Eddie are a big part of this. We're the three of us. We've kind of unofficially created what we call Rail Splitters Authentics. Of course, Rail Splitters a nod to one of Purdue's nickname before Boilermakers finally stuck back in the late 1800s. So we're just having some fun. Couple old guys. I guess I'll call myself old. If
not yet. You and Chris are still young.
But,
you and I are in the same boat here.
I'll take the hit. I'll take the hit. I'll take the hit.
Yeah, that's all right. Go ahead. Yeah, no, I think, and one of the important points is, Tom, too, is we're not talking about thousands of dollars for these guys. This is reasonable. Even when you did the event or have done other events with Payne Durham and Aiden O'Connell, those guys, the thing that's interesting about them is they seem to be somewhat charity driven oftentimes and want to do something big. We're talking hundreds of dollars, if that, for these guys to be able to do these kinds of things. Yeah.
And again, I think that's what the NIL, I think, is designed to do. I am certainly not all locked in and all the wheres and 2-4s, but I think this is what it's intended to be. You compensate someone a fair market value and go from there. It's not, as you said, it's not free cars and lifetime contracts. It's just a way to compensate them for a little bit of their time. And let's be honest, we all have a little bit of egos, regardless of what we do. And these guys, it makes them feel good. Someone wants to pay me to come sign some autographs. Heck yeah, why wouldn't I do that?
Yeah.
And as you guys all know, and Alan, you as well as anyone, Purdue's had a long history of just having great kids in athletics, and they're not over demanding, and they're just the kind of guy you'd want to be associated with, and we've had great success with the ones we've done so far, and expect that to continue.
Yeah, Charlie Jones, a little I know of him, Mason Gillis, Aiden O'Connell, all good guys. I mean, they're good to work with from that standpoint. All right, Chris, if someone's coming to visit your and see your collection, what's the one that really gets people more than anything, or is there one, or maybe the handful of things that really get your attention? And then I'll follow up with you on that as well.
Okay. Yeah, Alan, I get that question a lot. What's your favorite item? And I have so many things. It's hard to narrow down to just one. Top 10's a lot easier. But growing up, I was a space buff. I really wanted to be an astronaut, and obviously Purdue's got a really impressive history of cranking out astronauts and folks in the program there at NASA. Was able to come across a football years ago that's signed by the 1967 Rose Bowl team. Bob Greasy was a quarterback out there in Southern California, and in the late 60s, that would have been January 2nd of 67 when they had the Rose Bowl game. That was when the U.S. was really in the midst of the Apollo moon race, trying to put a man on the moon. And the particular ball that I was able to get was given to Roger Chaffee, who was a Purdue astronaut. And unfortunately, tragically, he was killed 25 days later after that Rose Bowl, on January 27, 1967, in a training fire for the Apollo 1. But I've got the football that he was given in the locker room after the game by the victorious Boilermakers, signed by the team. I've got a nice letter that states all that from his son, and that's the one that most people say, oh, that's really cool because it's got the Purdue tie, it's got the astronaut tie, and then I love the really old stuff. I pulled this football out because I always like to kind of show it off. It's a 1929 Purdue was undefeated.
Yeah.
And this ball was given to the captain, Red Slate, who was given the 1,000% award by the Big Ten. Beautifully painted. It's got the teams and the scores from each game. Stuff like that. You just, you can't put a price on it. It's just, it's something that's an honor to have, and it's really cool to see. Even more fun to show off, like I said.
Yeah, well said. From yours? Maybe I want to ask you what at the restaurant, what turns heads more than any? And I have outside of Mark Herman's hair, which I think does for me, and that's you have to check that out. But what do people comment on more than anything? Do you think?
I guess a lot of people don't realize that Drew. I got a ball from Drew's record-setting yardage game, and I got one of the game balls he sent to me, and that's one of my favorite things to have in the case. And I got the Johnny Wooden All-American Award, and some things like that. Just like some of the little things having guys back. And it's funny how you got some of the stuff. I think the most of is the stuff that you don't have a place of. It's like the year we did the family reunion with you with the gold and black with Johnny Wooden. I mean, we had a reception up at Bruno's, and back then we really didn't have any cell phones and stuff to take a lot of pictures. And then the night we had the NFF dinner, and we had at the restaurant after hours, we had Neil Armstrong, Gene Cernan, and Drew Brees all together just hanging out with about 40, 50 of us. I mean, that kind of stuff you just can't get back. And just I wish I had more pictures like with Johnny Wooden and stuff. But some of the older stuff, I keep and try to keep in touch with guys that come back, and they bring their families. And anybody comes in a restaurant wants to see the collection. If I'm open and there's not a party in that room, they're welcome to come on and just walk through. I mean, like you said at the beginning of the show, there people can come in and take a look at the collection anytime they like, as long as I don't have a private party going on. But it's some of the stuff you don't have on paper, like we had the meetings and all the time sitting with them and talking. We sat. I mean, Gene Cernan came back like 3 or 4 times after that dinner, and we talked about being on the moon. It's just like, it's just like stuff you just never get, you never hear. It's amazing.
There's no doubt about that. And that location, if you don't know where it is, of course, Bruno's down on the levee on Brown Street, and they're about as accommodating as you can get from that standpoint. And it is an important part of us. And I think, guys, that's the thing about this. It's really about relationships, and even Chris, every piece that you get is a story. I mean, everybody that gives you something or you find something tells a story about a relationship. And I think that is such an important part of what you guys bring to the table. And in addition, and Tom has done such a great job with and Tom and O, especially with the National Football Foundation and Joe Taylor, keeping that legend alive, because it means a lot to Purdue folks that have been longtime fans. All right, Chris, I'm going to go around the horn here. Just give me websites and contact information if people want to, and we'll also post this as well, but where people can get hold of you if they would want to see your collection, or how would they best get hold of you?
Yeah, Alan, the easiest way to get a hold of me, email chris@boilerup.com. Boilerup.com is a domain I've had for a while, and I'm in the process of transitioning servers. So look for that to be coming back up online here soon. And I'm going to try to put some pictures on there of a lot of what I've got to kind of help get some more interest in people coming to visit, and to try to help work with Purdue on doing some things in the future as well. So boilerup.com eventually, but send me an email, chris@boilerup.com.
Tom, in terms of the National Football Foundation, but also your memorabilia shows, and you change that maybe from time to time, but good places for people to get hold of you when you're part of if they have questions or are interested in those types of activities.
We've got a Facebook page for the Rail Splitters that Orlando, Eddie, and I put together. It's just Rail Splitters Authentics. We'd love to have folks check that out. That's where you'll find out about all our events and just some other photos, and we'll put photos of our collection up there just to kind of share the wealth a little bit. But again, just appreciate all the support of the Purdue collecting community in the last year plus, and look forward to doing a lot more great things moving forward.
anything in particular? Any other contact places for you outside of Brown Street on the levee?
Yeah, and Tom pretty much hit on. Also, we've got a web besides our website for the rail splitters. There's a collector site for Purdue memorabilia. People can get on there and take a look at. People post some of the things they have available and some of their own collections. But yeah, I'm just at the restaurant on the levee, and our rail splitters will get a hold of one of us, and we can if people have any idea who they like to see. I know every time we have a show, somebody will say, let's get this guy or get that guy. So I mean, we try to get, if it's reasonably enough, we get somebody to come and not have to charge a fortune to have them come and sign. But we got, if anybody's got people they're looking for, we'll do our best. And then we also do some mail order, because Tom did some mail order with the Kyle Orton. So we're kind of getting to that phase a little bit. So we'll be able to, there's a lot of collectors all over the country and never get to come back to West Lafayette for a game sometimes. And they want to collect some pictures too. So we're trying to help out. We got guys in California. Tom sent a bunch of stuff out, and guys send pictures back, say how happy they are. Got the jersey signed, they got a ball signed, and made their day. So that's what we're trying to do, is spread the boilers, spread the broilers all over the country, and get people also get some collecting, where they can't come back here.
Yeah, the Rose Bowl guys will be in town, and it's a big deal when they still, we all want to be remembered for what we did, our accomplishments, our highs and our lows to some extent. And this is a big thing that all three of you bring to the table. It means a lot I know to these former Purdue athletes, men and women as well, that have been, made.
You got to pat yourself on the back too, Al, because without you doing a lot of this, there wouldn't be a lot of people knowing what's going on. So
absolutely,
well, it's a fun thing for me to do, and a privilege to be with you guys, because we kind of all think the same way about the importance of this. All right, guys, we will do this again, maybe before your after the first of the year, Tom, before your next show. But we appreciate you guys very much. We could talk about this for about
we'll get a lineup. We'll get a lineup who our guests will be, and we can kind of push that. So
we'll keep you posted, or keep us posted, and we'll look forward to talking about that when the time comes. All right, guys, thanks so much for your time. I want to thank the not only our sponsors, Triple X on the Hill, but on the level of Purdue traditions since 1929. I think O's walked up the hill a time or two up there to see the Airsmans.
Good, but I'll drive.
Yeah, good friend. Yeah, I hear you. And of course, a guy that's also a friend of the family, State Farm agent Trent Johnson. You could swing a cat from Bruno's to all these two locations.
And Trent's a big collector too. Trent's got a big collection of stuff. So
yeah, and Trent is absolutely that way, and always is front and center. And like you guys, he's a service guy first, and wants to make sure that people are enjoying what's going on, and that's a big part of that. Okay, and also we want to thank WLFI, Gordon Jackson and company for all that they do as well, for making this an important, not important, but a fun show each week. And we enjoy that, and it's important too. But we'll look forward to that next week, as we will be preparing for Purdue going to Minnesota. We'll talk that next week on our next show on Gold and Black Live. Have a great week, everybody. And guys, thanks again so much.
See you, Chris.
Thanks,
guys. Good to see everybody.